Welcome to AstroTwins Radio, your cosmic GPS for life, love, and everything written in the stars. We're Tali and Ophira Edut, the AstroTwins, here to decode the astrology of the moment and help you navigate your destiny like a pro.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome to our first recording of 2026, the week of January 5th through 11th. We're together in Detroit. Talia here.
And Ophi, hanging out in our Airbnb for another 12 hours or so before we go back to our opposite coasts, only to meet again in California.
In a week. I feel like I'm about to take like a senior picture in this chair. It's like from like the 80s where there's like a plant behind me and I have to do the pose like
the wicker.
Hey.
Yeah.
If you're not watching us on YouTube, I'm sitting in a high-backed wicker chair with a faux fern and Christmas lights behind me. So, backdrops notwithstanding, we're glad to be together. The Year of the Unbridled Spirit is here. It's a 1 year, and already World War III is brewing. So let's get into this week.
Yeah. I did the podcast solo. This is Ophi last week because Talia was on her way to Detroit. And it was right before the new year and right before the Cancer full moon. This year started with a very early full moon in Cancer on Saturday, January 3rd, and Jupiter nearby. So Jupiter is global, and Cancer is the sign of home. So
nationalism.
So it can be that nationalistic kind of homeland energy that we're seeing. So here we are on a snowy Sunday in Detroit, waking up to find that the president of Venezuela has been captured with his wife. Now he's been brought to Brooklyn. He's in jail, in the same jail that Diddy's in or was in.
But captured is not actually the right, even though he is a super villain in the eyes of many. He was kidnapped from his home.
Essentially.
He was
whether he deserved it or not is one thing, but we've entered the year with like a world leader can just go and daddy, I want a pony, daddy, I want a country, I'm just going to take it. And, from an astrological point of view, I had to look up everybody's signs. We know that Donald Trump is a Gemini, and Nicolas Maduro is his opposite sign of Sagittarius, which is right now the vice president is the acting president. She's a Taurus, Delcy Rodriguez, and the opposition leader, Maria Machado, who dedicated her Nobel Prize to Donald Trump, got nothing more than being called, she's a very nice lady. She's a Libra. She's a Libra. Now, not to say that Libras don't have very nice lady syndrome sometimes, but I mean, talk about we've got
that's a thanks that you get when you align with him. As everyone, it's like it's palm to forehead. It's been an utterly confounding thing over and over again to watch people not seem to understand that you don't win by bending the knee or trying to curry favor. This man has loyalty to no one but himself. It's just
so in the last few days, in the light of this Cancer full moon, we've had Zohran Mamdani has been inaugurated as the mayor of New York City. We've had Venezuela mania happening, and a new year. So there's been a lot
of fire in Switzerland has been in the headlines too. So I mean, look, it's been kind of one of the things, as astrologers, you feel a lot of responsibility to not scare people. We don't ever want to be those types of astrologers. What we can do is say these are the energies that we see coming in, and
I like to think of it as a forecast more than a prediction. I mean, some people disagree and think that astrologers should just be making predictions and be bold, and there are times that we do. But and I'll swing out, but to be clear
course.
that even if you do that as an astrologer, it doesn't make you more likely to be correct. It's just you're just
It's kind of like
gambling a little bit. It's like the weather. I mean,
we can't say with like this clear sense that this is going to be an easy year. And
yeah.
a lot of times as an astrologer, you want to say, oh, it's the best year ever. 2026 is going to be so much better than 2025. And that's just not the case. In fact, the first half of this year has challenging transits in it that are going to push us even farther. One of the big things we've been talking about a lot, we're going to back it up to this week in a minute, but on February 20th, Saturn and Neptune, Saturn being authority, Neptune being the lack of boundaries, our faith, our spirituality, they're meeting at 0 degrees Aries, the very first point in the zodiac. And I think of 0 as the Fool card. The zero is the Fool card in tarot. So it's like, it's everything, it's nothing, it's this reset point. And in Aries, the sign of war and, this impulsive, brash move that the US, I mean, they've been planning it, but just, this aggressive, hyper aggressive move that goes against all world order agreements of kidnapping Maduro is in alignment with that energy. And also this week you want to kind of go through the roll call of just what is on deck this week, because I mean it's a big moment for the year and we'll talk about that, but this week is pretty pivotal too.
Yep. So Tuesday, January 6th, we have the Venus Cazimi. It's conjunct the sun. They come together and
every 9 months, actually.
Every
that
9
happens.
months.
Yep.
So the sun is authority figures, leaders. Venus is the planet of peace. So this could hopefully be a moment of checks where world leaders do really consolidate, come together and go, hey, this is a violation of international law, war acts.
New alliances are going to emerge. Venus can be diplomacy as well. And they're in Capricorn. An interesting fact about a Venus Cazimi. So that's when Venus is bathed. Cazimi means in the heart of the sun in Arabic. So when a planet is, right at the same degree as the sun, it's bathing in its light. So, this happens every 9 months, and one of the times it's the inferior conjunction during the retrograde, and the time after that it's a superior conjunction when Venus is not retrograde. So the last one we had was actually this past spring when there was a Venus Cazimi in Aries, the sign of war, and Venus was retrograde. Now, this Venus Cazimi is happening in Capricorn, which is military, government, powers, national structures, patriarchy. I think of it as very much a militaristic operation in that regard. I feel like Capricorn Aries is war, but Capricorn feels like the general kind of, like the colonel and the
officer Capricorn for sure.
Yeah. So
so Tuesday, whenever Venus is involved, Venus and Jupiter are what are called the benefics, which are generally positive and helpful. So I'm always happy to see one of those two planets enter the chat, especially if it's in a helpful, cooperative angle to another planet. Venus and the sun together are cooperating, but it can sometimes be too much of a good thing. It's like, do we like this combination? It's going to be an extra strength dose of the Capricorn energy with Venus mixed in. What do you think,
I
Tali?
think on a personal level too, like it does give us an opportunity to kind of come together with people who share our values. And especially, again, these forces always underestimate the connections and the network that women have, and Venus represents that. So that's the thing about this year. So while we will continue to see things that are an affront to our humanity, that, as opposed to being like frozen and like fight, flight, freeze, fawn in 2025, this year we're kind of past that. It's like, okay, time to build coalitions, time to get into action, what are we going to do? Like there's more of a fight energy, which
I think that's going to happen a lot. I mean, not to skip over the good thing that we'll get back to, but on Friday the 9th, the Sun and Mars are meeting up. They're conjunct, and that is a lot of
war,
aggression,
ego,
firepower in Capricorn. Mars likes being in Capricorn. It's what's called exalted, but it's like, because that's when Mars, which is the warrior, gets to put on his lapels and uniforms and march out like the 5-star general. And when you put the Sun in, they're both very yang, fighting focused energy. So Friday is going to be a whole lot.
And Saturday, because both the Sun and Mars are going to be opposite Jupiter. Jupiter's exalted right now in Cancer. So it's like this strong, nationalistic, and Jupiter's exalted. It's weird that it's exalted in Cancer. In some ways, because we think about Jupiter as the global traveler and Cancer is like the domestic, but in some ways it's like, I am the king of my castle and everything around me is my territory, my realm. And I think we're already seeing that now. I think it's only going to get amplified. This is sort of an echo of the Cancer full moon that was opposing Venus and Mars. Yes, and I think, Marco Rubio is shamelessly just talking about how they want to do the same thing and capture Greenland and Cuba,
Oh,
and it's like, I don't doubt that they
trying to normalize
will try that.
this.
I mean, it's like it's like you got your ballroom bulldozed. Why not move on and just take a? It's this whole. It's
there
like
are no guardrails.
Smash and grab and kidnap. It's like people are being disappeared and kidnapped off the streets here. Now we're going to other people's countries and kidnapping. It's like there is no bottom here, and it's really terrifying. And I am like, oh my God, we cannot freeze in terror for another year. It's like, it is hard. Our brains are
That's
already
why the Fire
exhausted.
Horse year is probably a good thing, like getting us into action.
And the fact, on Wednesday, there's a Venus-Mars conjunction in Cap. So Venus and Mars conjoin, meaning at the same degree in the zodiac, every 2 years. They had a couple of them in 2024. Actually, the last one was February 16th, I think it was 2024. Yeah, it was in Aquarius. So we haven't had it since then. So this one, Venus and Mars, there may be enough outside pressure from other countries to tone this down a little, but I don't know. Or people will go sheeple and start justifying it. I'm just, if you think like we do, buckle up, because it's not going to be an easy start to this year. It is.
Now, the silver lining of Venus and Mars happens on a personal note. They are the love planets. So when they come together, Venus is like that romance and the wooing, and Mars is the kind of lusty, sizzling attraction. So look, it could be a good day. It could be a good day to stay in bed and not necessarily alone, if you will. I mean, it's interesting because our grandmother, who was in World War II and escaped the Nazis all throughout France, she didn't keep a diary, but our grandfather much later recorded her stories. And I remember her talking about being on a bus where Jews were finally freed and the people were like still finding ways to be romantic with one another, if you will. And it just made me think, like, the world goes through what it goes through, but people still manage to find ways to keep living their lives and doing the things that we do and falling in love or lust or whatever. So
I don't know why this memory just went through my mind, but when we first got cable TV, yes, there was a time for those of us Gen Xers where we didn't have cable, but they wired up our neighborhood in Detroit. And one of the first movies that aired on HBO was Grease 2. It was like Michelle Pfeiffer's breakout. And one of the greasers, like, they had bomb shelters.
Oh,
and remember,
let's do it for our country.
Let's do it for our country. Yeah. He like wooed Sharon, one of the pink ladies, down into the bomb shelter and did fake sirens. And then, so she would lose her virginity. And it was like, Louis DiMuccio,
Anyways. Louis DiMuccio, I'll never forget that.
Yeah, she was like,
how could you?
How could you? Yeah, she figured out it was
why
a
do
fake.
These things stay in your brain for 40
Build your
years?
bomb shelter and do it for your country.
Wow.
I can't. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Well, there
That'll
was a
be the
baby boom after the war, so
turning point is going to be just overjoyed.
Isn't that the playbook? There's a war and then there's a baby boom. Is that what they want us to do? Well, God forbid. Anyway, we do
talk about
believe
machinations. Like, can't you just be direct? Okay, we want people to have families and babies. Then okay,
so we're gonna make life affordable for you now. We're going to, oh my goodness, maybe have some socialist policies so you have health care and housing and access. Now this reminds me, this was a very Jupiter and Cancer illuminating thing that came out, which was Lean In, the organization created by Virgo Sheryl Sandberg, the Facebook sidekick to Mark Zuckerberg. They did their annual Women in the Workplace report that they just released. And I am a member of an awesome women's co-working space called Luminary in New York City. And Kate Luzio, the founder, she posted about this, something really smart on LinkedIn that I wanted to share, that I think is a really, like, if we're going to think about where can we put our energy in 2026, that would be proactive. We're not going to just, like Tali said, we don't want to just freeze. So I'm going to find her post. She wrote about Lean In, and she was saying that she shouted out this woman, Blessing Oyeleye Adesian. Sorry, Blessing, if I said your name wrong. So in Blessing's Substack, she says, Lean In's new report forgot women are mothers. I'm not joking. They blamed women for lacking ambition. Their own data blames the workplace. So this is really interesting. She says, I spent the entire day reading the 2025 Women in the Workplace report cover to cover. This is the biggest study on women in corporate America. It's supposed to diagnose the problem accurately and tell us what women need. And do you know how many times they mention care, caregiving, parenting, childcare, or elder care? 0, not once. Not in the analysis, not in the recommendations, not even in the footnotes. For an organization with women in its name, the omission is astonishing. Actually, no, it's revealing, because when you erase care, you create the illusion of the ambition gap. When you erase caregiving, the invisible labor overwhelmingly done by women, you can comfortably say women just don't want to be promoted as much as men. When you erase motherhood and the universal reality of family responsibilities, you can frame women's choices as personal failures instead of institutional design failures. The problem is the absence of support, sponsorship, flexibility, and structural fairness. The problem is a workplace built on male norms, where a quote-unquote committed worker is someone with 0 caregiving responsibilities and a wife at home. The problem is the care gap. So I thought, I had never heard of this before, and it may be one of her, I know about it, but I never heard it named that. And with Jupiter being in Cancer until June 30th, and this Cancer full moon illuminating women, mothers in the home, at the beginning of the year, opposite Venus and Mars in Capricorn, which is a sign of men, and also structures and mentors and workplaces. This is really timely and telling. Like, women are really holding up so much of the emotional labor and the caregiving in their families.
Yeah.
And corporations are not supporting them for that. So they're having to opt out of promotions. Because on page 10, tucked inside a small box, the report briefly acknowledges that women who say they don't want a promotion cite quote unquote personal obligations at a much higher rate than men. Then it immediately moves on. No analysis, no context, no mention that personal obligations is code for child care, elder care, household management, emotional and cognitive labor, school schedules, medical appointments, the default parent role, the unpaid second shift. You know, the entire invisible care infrastructure that women manage. So corporations don't have to. So that was the mic drop that I thought, like, yeah, women are doing the work that corporations don't have to. And it's not that some men are not. There are men that are egalitarian or even running their households, but the majority is still women, still falling on women. So as we're fighting for things this year related to Cancerian themes, this is somewhere worth putting our attention, in my opinion.
The care gap, and also what to do about that. I mean, I think micro neighborhoods, micro societies, micro communities are going to start coming together more and more. It's something,
Pluto and Aquarius.
I've gone to, from 2007 until 2019, I went to Burning Man 12 years in a row. And while it was a big, debaucherous festival in the desert, that was not what drew me to it. It was the art for sure, but more than anything, it was the idealistic energy of the social experiment. My 11th house son loved it. So what was most powerfully, one of the most impactful experiences for me, at least in the beginning, it was like, because I came from New York first, then wound up coming from Seattle after that for a couple of years later. But it was like the gift economy. One of the principles is, no money can change hands. It operates as a gift economy. It's not bartering. You don't trade. You bring things to share. So everybody comes with something, like at first, it's like, you come the first time, you're like, oh, let me give people these necklaces and beads, and people are like, no thanks. Usually they're like, I got enough
Don't
stuff.
bring crap to Burning Man.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people are like, oh, thank you, but it depends. People give away food. People have bars. We had a propane deep fryer, and we deep fried corn dogs for a few years in the end. Like, people at the end, when you've just had, like, because there's you have to bring your own generator, and a lot of people just eat ramen the whole time, and all of a sudden someone's like deep frying you, food in the middle of the desert. You're like, oh my God, thank you. So, but
what is the version of a corn dog in the desert that the world needs in
the corn dog? I mean, that
2026?
was all silly examples in some ways, but a lot of time, like, there were times when I was like, ran out of water and someone would present you with a refill or a bottle. The point I'm trying to make, and I do have a point, is that there was always too much. Like, I learned this after about 5 years, like, no matter what, I would always wind up bringing too much with me, and everybody did, because when we brought stuff to share, it was like, oh my God, we have so much excess. But when we hoard and keep it to ourselves and stocked away in our basements, and it's like, how many of us have like a cupboard, a shelf, a basement with stuff that like never gets touched for this let's do it for our country bomb shelter moment that never comes. Like the gift economy, the sharing economy.
I think it's a mindset, and it's a mindset that we would be wise
mindset
to
and
cultivate.
a soul set too, because you get this
it's more than
when people start to give and share, like you're
spiritually oriented to community, generosity, and together oneness.
It's contagious too. It's like, oh my God,
this is
it
what
feels
we do.
so good, and it feels better than any to be in that sharing versus hoarding. But we're in the opposite of that right now. Mine. I'm taking
my
this,
country, my
not
oil.
enough oil, not enough gold, not enough this. I need a crypto coin. My house. So it's like the scarcity, and that's we worked with we work with various coaches and advisors throughout our career. And one that we decided to stop working with was someone who insisted on using this classic definition of the economy, which was the use of scarce resources. And he was harping on scarcity, scarcity, scarcity. And that's how our modern economy is designed, to drive up fears of scarcity, when truly it doesn't have to be that way. And I think the reason why we're in this fraught state right now, and why so much feels like it's like falling apart and exploding, it does need to. We don't, it's scary because we don't know what comes next, but the system that we think is keeping us safe and that we think is a safety net and a security net is not at all, because it disconnects us from each other. And when we don't have community, when we don't have a sharing mindset, an economy of generosity, then we're all on our own and we're separate.
And we're easily manipulated too. I mean, if I think about anyone that I know who hoards stuff or overstocks everything, do they have do they feel more or less secure? Well, they feel less secure usually because the hoarding is a symptom of not feeling secure, not believing that anyone is going to come and take care of them. And look, a lot of that is linked to trauma. Our dad has a lot of that. He's obsessed with Costco. He was a refugee. His mother died when he was an infant. She caught scarlet fever from him and died when he was less than 1 year old. And so, he's had a lot of tragedy, but nothing can soothe that man's mind, nervous system, and drop his cortisol levels quite like going to Costco and putting meat in the freezer and having enough toilet paper and all the things. It's just,
every time he visits us, whether it's New York or Seattle, it's like the first thing, hey, we're going to Costco. It's like we have to get in the car and take him to Costco,
and then he can relax,
and then he'll relax. But
we're managing some trauma here, some mental impacts of health impacts of trauma, to be clear. But it's you can see that it's rampant in our society, and as the cost of living goes up, and it's feeding itself. The wealth gap is getting wider and wider, and in 2020, I think that's being illuminated this week.
The first half of the year too.
Yeah, the first half, and looking at this care gap article, you said, what can we do about it? Well, here are some of the things that Blessing took from spending the day really reading this Lean In report. She wrote that women get less sponsorship. So especially entry-level women, Asian women, and senior level women. So, having a mentor, or a sponsor, gives you that security. We're not going to just get rid of you. We are going to nurture you. We're going to invest in you. We value you as a member of the team, and we're going to make sure we have someone looking out for you. So women get fewer stretch opportunities, which are literally how careers accelerate. You get to prove yourself in a moment of adversity and show your skills at problem solving. So women are punished for remote or flexible work, which is the biggest bunch of BS, because they're the ones having the babies.
Yeah.
Or just juggling more childcare and the care gap. They need remote and flexible work in order to do that. Senior women are burning out at the highest rates in 5 years, especially Black women, who report both high burnout and low security. And then companies are quietly deprioritizing women. So
Was that in the lean in report?
this is literally the lean in report, and blessing their interpretation of the hard data that's right there, because they skimmed over the surface of all of this. So she says the workplace is still built around male norms. Lean In keeps measuring women against a leadership model built for someone who has no caregiving responsibilities, has a spouse handling domestic logistics, can be in the office at all hours, can travel last minute, does not carry the emotional or mental load of a household, and has a body that will never be pregnant. That's not neutrality. I mean, this is so good.
Wow.
It's just, these are the things that we're not aware of. And with Jupiter in Cancer, especially after it goes out of retrograde March 10th, we've got to start valuing women as natural resources and not just for our baby making, not this trad wife turning point insanity. Like, we are not here to just do that.
I saw this clip of J-Lo at her Vegas show, which, by the way, she's a Leo, and the second half of the year is going to be great for all things Leo, showy, dance, because Jupiter goes into Leo then. But especially Leos need to chill in the first half of the year. I was like, you should have waited 6 months. But in the clip, she was like talking about how, and I'm paraphrasing, but women are like, you give us a bag of groceries, we make a beautiful meal. You know, you give us a little something, something, we make a baby. Like, essentially,
Ew.
like, I know she literally said that, but like,
Ew.
that women will just like expand everything we touch, which is true. But I'm like, I didn't see the whole thing. Right. But I'm like, what if you give a woman a bag of groceries and she like assigns everyone in her household, you put this in the refrigerator, you make dinner, you know, like,
what if she didn't even have to do that? What
if someone picked it out of her picked it and someone's like, here, let me take that from you.
And you know, to be fair, that happens.
It does, but
we don't know who Lean In. I mean, I'm sure it was very biased population. It was through HR departments too. So like, we didn't get, there are some really awesome men out there, some of whom we know and love personally. You're not saying that, but this, you know, J-Lo and other, it's like,
well,
it's just this whole,
it's the context that we're in right now. If we weren't being assaulted with Erica Kirk and all this like evangelical backwards, if we didn't
backlash,
have women abortion and reproductive rights in jeopardy, and you said that about women like 2 years ago, I've been like, yeah, we are so badass. But now you can't hear anything like that. I can't. I struggle to hear it without the tinge of trad wife pressure, pronatalism in it. And it's just like, man.
Well, women have made real strides. And so whenever we make strides, there's always backlash that comes up, often spearheaded by a woman, scary enough, like a hench woman.
Flying monkey for the narcissist.
Exactly. So this Lean In report is like implying once again that it's our fault. We don't want to be promoted. We're a little less ambitious. Maybe women just need to just like go get our nails done and go to the spa and just
self-care
relax
day.
and just, you know, log off social media. Don't pay attention. Don't watch the news. Don't
that's not what most women aren't, you know, doing self-care.
But then we'll be blamed for a company failing to. Well, there's something called the Great Wealth Transfer that's happening, which is that boomer parents and parents born in the 1930s and 40s are passing their wealth along to the next generation, which is in most cases Gen X children. And you know, you see that with Abigail Disney, heir to the Disney fortune. It's being put in the hands of women who are not going to be feeding trad wife BS. They're going to be sponsoring, you know, really giving to causes that stop this backlash and give women a chance to succeed without punishing them and creating impossible
Yeah,
standards.
how about instead of giving women a freaking bag of groceries, you
Give 'em a
give them
bag of
their look at what
gold.
happens when you give them the money that they helped you earn, like Mackenzie Bezos, the ex of Jeff Bezos. I think she's changed her name back to Mackenzie, what is it, Scott, I think, and then Melinda French Gates, Melinda French, they have been giving away billions and just using their money to make the world a better place. And what are their exes doing? Winding up in the Epstein files, taking over Vogue and the Met Gala. The fact that
destroying free speech, just so this is so.
Did you
let's
see Lauren, Lauren Bezos on her yacht trip. It's just
and she is so like she and Christy Nome are just excommunicated from being Sagittarians, and I will not claim them in our sign. So
we rebuke them from our sign.
We have an opportunity in this fiery Aries Great Reset year, this unbridled spirit year, to unleash your own, to set your spirit free like the Spice Girls, and your voice and your resources. And let's be honest, if you give a woman a bag of groceries, she's going to feed the whole neighborhood, not her family. So let's tap into that resourcefulness without these sexist tradwife tropes. Thank you, J-Lo in Vegas, and enjoy your showgirl, as she's self-identified as, your moment there. No shade. She's doing what she does, being a Leo on stage and dancing. But I don't think we need tips on how to be better women from her at the moment.
I mean, I do think,
working tips. How about some business tips?
I like that she's like accepting of her child's non-binary.
There's a lot that I like about her. I wish she wasn't dishing out that advice. It's like, we don't need like live, laugh, and love hokey advice. Like, tell us how you like are like so in charge of your own.
I know, she's kind of trying to be like vaudeville campy, like you would be naked all the time if you had this body.
And it's so contrived. It's like, J-Lo, you are wealthy, you own your stuff, like tell us how you did that. Empower women with that.
And you know what, that's okay, like we don't want to leave you feeling hopeless again. It's just like, I want to say, and we're going to be talking about this on our Planet by the Planets webinar. So by the way, we're going to be talking about how the year is split into two. So if you don't have your 2026 horoscope book or daily astrology planner yet, make sure you get it if that was on your plan. astrostyle.com/new year. We have the whole array of our books, because the bonus, it's the last week to get your bonus ticket to our Planet by the Planet webinars, where we basically take you on a guided tour of the year. And the year is split into two parts, in my opinion. We're going to get more into this, and it's also going to be more interactive this year. So you're going to have a chance to it's not just going to be informational, but we're going to give you a little worksheet with some exercises. So you can, if you haven't started your vision board or your resolutions, this is going to kick that off for you. We are also going to do our vision board event for the year, the horse, in February, but this is like a great kickstart. So that's Sunday, January 11th. What time is it?
2 p.m. Eastern.
2 p.m. Eastern. So everyone who buys a book gets a ticket to the webinar. Once you buy the book, it'll be emailed to you with your bonuses. So the year is going to be split in two. So astrostyle.com/new year for the book. And then the year is going to be split in two. So the first half of the year, we have Jupiter in Cancer. And we still are dealing with Uranus and Taurus till April 25th. We've got the year of the snake finishing out for the first month and a half. Pisces North Node, Virgo South Node, and the Saturn, Neptune, and Aries are going to be very close together. So there's just this fear aggression, fear, aggression, like mobilizing, getting organized, finding your people. The second half of the year, basically July 1st, June 30th, July 1st, we have Jupiter going into Leo. And then a month later, the North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo. So it's a movement towards coalition building, creativity, leadership. Venus will be retrograde in the second half, and from October 3rd to November 13th in Scorpio and Libra, the partnership sign. So a chance to rebuild some of the bonds that might get fractured in the first half of the year. And maybe between the US and Canada.
Oh God, that would be good. We do have this minor grand trine when Uranus goes into Gemini too. It's Uranus, Pluto, Saturn, and Neptune. So that's Gemini, Aquarius, and Aries. That could be a wartime boom of technology.
There is, because there's no way around it. There's war. There's war all over this year, and drones and surveillance. Like there is, and we can't deny that it's happening. And what I beg of you guys, is that when you hear this, if you get a little scared, don't feel the fear, but don't hide away. Don't bury your head in the sand. We've got midterm elections coming up this year that have the promise of, a restoration. If we could, but like, we cannot,
if we bury our heads in the sand, we're going to look the other way while disinformation spreads. And we're not going to take this. I mean, if you think about what we've heard about the Heritage Foundation, for example, which is architected Project 2025, is they've been working on this for decades. I mean, this whole concept is 50 years in the making or more. So think about these people playing the long game. That's what a lot of the people who are now in power have done. They've bided their time, and now they were able to step in. So right now, those of us who are on the side of humanity are having to bide our time. We might not be as good at it because we believe in speaking freely and justice. So we're just, we're showing our hands, or we're not. That's why I'm intrigued by Zoran Mamdani being my new mayor. I don't know, actions will speak louder than eloquent speeches. We'll see how it all goes, how it turns out. But having something different on the side of the Democratic and the Democratic Socialist Party, on the side of the people, is a pattern interruption. And when a pattern gets interrupted, and we have novelty that releases dopamine, dopamine pulls us into action, wakes us up. So we need more novelty on the side of justice and humanity. Trump and MAGA are delivering novelty, but they're delivering it because they're not playing by any rules. So you never know what they're going to do. What they're really doing is dysregulating us because there's no pattern. They're interrupting patterns, but we can't tell what the new pattern is going to be, really. Some people think they can, but then there's another curveball. So
we did make a bold prediction in our book this year that Obama could make a comeback mid-year into politics, that he could return, like, some kind of, like really playing a leadership role. But his being a Leo, and he has his nodes in Aquarius and Leo too, so we may hear a lot from him as we gear up for the midterms.
I just hope we don't have to wait that long, because people really do listen when he speaks.
I mean, Bernie and AOC, the Democratic Socialists have, and I'm not promoting or not promoting him, but they have great placements in the second half of the year. Aquarius and the eclipse on February 17th is going to be good for democratic socialism as well. I think that
AOC is a North Node return.
And look how quickly Mamdani mobilized people for his campaign and across New York. Like, he was not known at all in 2023, 2024. It was like, and he just went and did that thing. He stuck to his message, and it's just, I'm not into a cult of personality for any politician. Like, I
No,
think,
but the MAGA cult has spread and grown so quickly that if
yeah,
there isn't even remotely a counterforce, we're in a lot more trouble than we have to be. So, what Tali is saying, stay awake, stay alert. Don't let fear make you freeze or hide or drop out or opt out or tap
yeah,
out. Like, Sun Mars conjunction on Friday is a shot of courage. It's a time to, this Capricorn season with all these Capricorn planets this week. It's like Capricorn is about your, prioritizing your values and your beliefs and what you stand for, your integrity. So it's a week to get really clear on that. And on a personal level, your resolutions and goals and
yeah.
milestones for the week, like keep doing things for yourself to keep yourself strong, healthy, vital, vibrant. You're going to need to be mentally sharp, physically strong, and spiritually armored, this
And
year.
moving the stress of all of this out of your body too through movement and exercise. Like,
Hmm.
there are, like, there are studies that say, like, when politics start to get really fraught, people, it was like, oh, people become more vain, they start working at, it's like, I don't think it's vanity, I think it's survival, like,
Wow.
brain kicking in. It's like, we need to feel like there's something we can control, and maybe that's our bodies, our looks, our, but, like, if you're doing it
Yeah.
in a way that's soothing and healthy, there's, we support that 1,000%. Ophi made the we just did our cosmic closure webinar, and it was so fun to everyone who was on that with us last week. Is the replay still
Yeah,
up?
we'll keep the replay up this
How do
week.
people get to that? We'll
We'll
put it in the
drop it in
show
the show
notes.
notes, but it was on Crowdcast. And just click the link, and you can just watch the replay
It's a
right away and
webinar
go
that we
through a
do.
guided. It actually would be a great thing to do before Sunday the 11th when we do our Planet by the Planets webinar, because it's about releasing, reclaiming, recommitting what didn't work out or work out the way you hoped in 2025, making some peace with it and recommitting to like what you hope to do. I took on like health and fitness, and I said I was going to go work out with our friend Connor, who was here in Michigan
You went to
too,
the
which
gym
I did.
3 times.
I went three
Well,
times.
yeah.
Yeah, I
I
went
went
to
0 because I had the flu, which was really
yeah.
frustrating. Yeah.
Well, doing and doing that declaration as everybody did in the comments in our community, in this warm, supportive, encouraging community that always shows up on all of our webinars. Just the spirit, the space is always so great. And so just declaring that I was going to recommit to self care over self consciousness, which was keeping me from going to the gym. I haven't belonged to a gym in a decade. I was kind of exercising outside and doing my own home thing, but it's
Not
just
in a
not
regular way.
it's not enough now that we've got like ice on the sidewalks, and I'm is working hard on building up our business all year, but I didn't have a consistent exercise and fitness routine. So I recommitted to that. And, we, through this exercise, it's done like in a non judgmental, non self shaming way. So definitely invite you to watch it. It's an hour long, and then get yourself a copy of the 2026 horoscope book, maybe our manifestation bundle, one of our daily planners, any of the products, any format, whether paperback or digital, and you will get your free ticket to our Planet by the Planets masterclass, which is always an incredible way to start the year. We promise you will feel encouraged and empowered and positive and hopeful from it. We can't lie to you. This week is what it is, but you also get the
This
digital.
year is what it is.
This
Yeah.
year is what it is, but look, we've been through a pandemic. We've been through so many things. We will get through this too. We'll get through it together.
Yeah. I mean, the pandemic really fractured communities, and, we've been isolating for so long as people, and we've been just, I don't think we haven't come back. We haven't rebounded back from being afraid of each other, like, oh my God, if you cough on me, I could die. It was that, but it's that divisions that have already were being revved up since 2016. We find ourselves here, but we're at the middle of the decade now, and there's always a chance
Every
to turn it
day.
around. And while we can't control some of the things that are happening globally right now in the moment, I think I feel the unbridled spirit year already, because I already feel myself starting to connect to, like, I talked to a friend of mine, who I haven't talked to in a decade, but years ago we watched that movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? It was like, and he's an Aquarius, so he went full on. There was this woman Ramtha on there, Jay-Z Knight was her name, but she channeled this like 30 million-year-old entity named Ramtha. And
is that how we found out about her?
Wow. Yeah, from What the Bleep. And Joe Dispenza,
who
used to teach at the Ramtha school. A lot of the people who are in that What the Bleep Do We Know video, like,
why don't we link to that, and also to Blessings?
Oh yeah, let's make sure we do that.
Care gap too.
Yeah, well, it reminded me, What the Bleep Do We Know reminded me of just a time, and it was like early 2000, 5, 6. Yeah, like we didn't have, it was like a couple years before we had smartphones. And it was like, I just remember being in a phase where it was like, we're still in the aftermath of like September 11th and trying to make sense of war and killing and atrocities. But I remember being like, there's something so much bigger than this. There's something more than what's going on here. And we've been assaulted by so many things here on the material plane over the last year that we don't want to do the spiritual bypass. But in the year of the unbridled spirit, I think it is especially important to have moments where we pull back and go like, if I was to be super philosophical and say, why is this what am I supposed to learn? What is my spirit supposed to see? I incarnated at this time. What am I supposed to be like remembering or detaching from instead of feeding? Like detaching enough to connect, because there is that oneness of human spirit. I really hope that the eclipse in Aquarius on February 17th brings like a reminder of that oneness. We have Mars and Venus will be together in Aquarius from January 23rd to February 10th of this year too. So there's also this like unity burst coming. So even if this
week is a little rough, and this month
we are still in the Aquarian age. Pluto is showing us
the last
Pluto's
week
pushing it down to the underworld, but
the last week of the month, all the Capricorn planets start to transfer into Aquarius. By late January, early February, it's going to be more of the unity. So Capricorn is clarifying. It shows us where we stand, our priorities, that kind of thing. So it's use it for what it's good for, which is to get really clear. Capricorn is no BS. You don't BS yourself. It's like kind of like let's sit down for the mature chat, face the facts. This is what we're dealing with. And when you know what you're dealing with, instead of being in denial, that's when you can make a plan, which is also what Capricorn is all about. So this is a week for planning.
We have to look, even if we're going like this, but we have to look at what's in front of us and deal with the facts and what is right
Speaking
now.
Of plans, I think we have dinner plans with our parents for our last night here in Detroit. So I think it involves pizza, which is very Midwestern. It's been snowing nonstop here. Like it's just, I'm over it. I'm ready to go back to balmy New York City, where at least there's no snow, from what I understand.
Seattle.
It
has been like
a balmy 30 to 40 degrees instead of lower, but I mean it's been fine. But oh my god, I'm so So over the snow. So off we go, and off you go into the first full week of the month. We really hope to see you on Sunday the 11th for Planet by the Planets. We would love to craft the year together.
And we're doing this year together with you on the podcast, and appreciate guys who are tuning in now for probably the third. This is year 3. We're starting year 3. And this podcast began as a result of cosmic closure. Because I declared cosmic closure on procrastinating on the podcast. And then it was like, here we are. So
you can still take an action too. I mean, it's all, the fresh start moment is arbitrary. I mean, the planetary positions are not, but the Gregorian calendar has only been around a few centuries. So you can make a fresh start any day, any moment that you want. We'll see you next week.
See you next week, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in to AstroTwins Radio. If today's episode gave you an aha moment, we'd be over the moon if you left us a 5-star review. It helps fellow astrology lovers find us. And make sure to hit subscribe and follow us on iTunes and Spotify so you never miss an episode. Want the full visual experience? You can also watch the video version on our YouTube at AstroTwins-TV. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at AstroTwins and head over to astrostyle.com to read your free daily, weekly, and monthly horoscope that we write for you with love. Until next time, move with intention and let the universe meet you there.